Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another episode of It's Your Health. We're going to be focusing on part 2 of knocking down cholesterol. So today I'm going to focus in more on things you can do, ways that you can lower your cholesterol. I know in my first video I talked more about the LDLs, the HDLs, the triglycerides, and what they are and what they do to the coronary arteries, to the walls of the arteries, how they damage the walls of the arteries. If you guys missed that video, go back and look at part 1 before you look at this video, because this video I'm not going to discuss the types of cholesterol in this video. In this video I'm going to speak in terms, we're going to talk about those types of cholesterols that you're going to try and lower and increase, but I'm talking with the understanding that you already understand what they are. You know what I mean when I use the abbreviation LDL and HDL. You already know what that is. So there's no need in us going into detail about that because I talked about that in the first video. Okay. So for the sake of the time of this video, if you have not seen it and you don't know what an LDL is, go back to the first video and look at that video before you look at this one. Okay. So for those who have already seen it, know what it is, let's get to it. Okay. Talking about lowering the cholesterol levels, just remember that cholesterol is made in the liver, okay? So depending on what you give your body, how much of these high saturated fatty foods that you are consuming, what you're putting in your body, that determines how much cholesterol is going to be made in the liver, okay? So when the liver makes all this cholesterol, these high levels of LDLs, that's what it's putting out because of what you're giving it, okay? So what we're going to focus on today is things that you can do to lower the LDLs and get the HDLs up. But I'm going to focus more in terms of lowering the LDLs and increasing the HDLs on a level of everything that you can do aside from taking medicine, okay? I'm talking about doing these things so that if you are on a statin, you get off a statin. And I'm talking in terms of if you're now on any statin or any type of medication for cholesterol, that you don't ever reach the level of getting on a statin, okay? And if you're not familiar with what a statin is any medication that is given to help lower the LDLs, okay? That would be atorvastatin, simvastatin, okay? Anything that ends with a statin, that's a statin, okay? You have the brand names of those drugs like Lipitor and things of that nature, but understand that in the generic form of that drug, it is known as a statin, okay? So because there can be some side effects from taking statins, we want to keep patients from getting on a statin, okay? Some statins can cause, well, statins in general can, to some people as a side effect, it can cause muscle weakness and things of that nature. And so if you don't have to be prescribed a statin, we don't want to put you on the statin. But unfortunately for some people, because of their diet, because of their lifestyle, because of their eating habits and the way they're living their life, it's the inevitable. You know, if I get a patient in with an LDL of 250, I don't care. I'm putting you on a statin. You going on a statin because I know that 1, your liver is making way too much cholesterol. 2, you're at a high risk for having a heart attack. I don't know how much plaque is built up in your coronary arteries because I don't know how long you've been doing what you're doing, how long you've been eating the things that you've been eating. So I have to be aggressive in my treatment plan and go ahead and put you on a statin to help lower your LDLs, thereby lowering your risk of having a heart attack. So one of the things that you can do is stop eating foods that are high in saturated fats, okay? So that would be meats that are high in saturated fats. That would be byproducts of meats that are high in saturated fats. For instance, beef, okay? I am a meat eater, okay? I am a meat eater, but I do not eat certain meats, all right? So I don't eat meat, I don't eat beef, I don't eat pork. And another meat that's high in saturated fats would be lamb. Every now and then I eat lamb, normally around the holidays. My mom prepares it and I do like it, so I eat it when she makes it. But for the most part, on a day-to-day basis, I don't eat lamb, okay? But I definitely don't eat beef, and I definitely don't eat pork. I don't care what time of year it is. I'm not eating either one of those. If you take the byproduct of beef, the byproduct that beef makes, meaning the cow, the byproducts of that we use, like our dairy products such as butter, milk, creams, things of that nature, those come from the cow. So those products are high in saturated fats, okay? So you want to eliminate those products as much as you can out of your diet if your goal is to lower the LDLs. Keep in mind, I want you guys to keep this in mind, because when I say this, people think, oh my God, I don't want to eat butter because of the... This is the thing, guys. Butter can be real bad if it's consumed too much. Some people consume butter too much. They put it in large quantity. They got to have butter on their bread, butter on this, butter in the grits, butter in the baked potato. They got to have butter. You taking in too much butter. That's why it's clogging up the arteries. If you take in butter maybe once a month, that's not going to clog your arteries. But if every time you sit down and have a meal, you're eating something, you got to put butter on there, yes, that's going to clog your arteries. If it's every day, it's going to eventually start to cause plaque buildup in the coronary arteries. It's going to start messing with your LDLs. It's going to increase your numbers, and you will still increase in the LDLs. Just remember, too much of anything is not good, and that includes water. There is a such thing as called water toxicity. Too much of anything is not good. I don't care what it is, whether it's vegetables, whether it's fruits, whether it's meats, whether it's what. You cannot consume too much of anything and think something good is going to come. You can't do it. You have to do things in moderation, okay? So there has to be a nice balance there. What I recommend, if you're going to consume butter or some type of, I would say butter would be the best thing to take. Do not mess with margarine, because that is not real butter. That I can't believe it's not butter. That's not real butter. If you're going to eat butter, you need to consume real butter, okay? And that means the real butter that's made from a cow. You need to consume. But the thing is, don't eat so much of it. Eliminate it out of your diet, okay? Which means that if you're going to eat eggs, don't fry your eggs in butter. Spray your pan with olive oil, okay? Cook your eggs with olive oil. Don't consume so much of it. Because what we're learning is that people always have this negative stigma with eating eggs. The yellow part of the egg. Yes, the yellow part of the egg does have some high levels of cholesterol in it, but it does not have enough for the liver to make so much to block the arteries, if that makes sense. All right? So if your LDLs are going up, it's not because you're eating eggs. It's because you're frying those eggs in butter. It's because of the other things that you're doing that is causing the increase of the LDLs, okay? So you want to avoid those type of coconut, things of that nature, those type of things. Coconut oil, don't use coconut oil. It's high. It's going to increase high levels of saturated fat. It's going to increase the LDLs, okay? So when I say I eat meat, I eat more like fish. I eat salmon. I eat those type of things. I eat chicken. When you are eating chicken is not a bad meat to eat. It's actually one of the good meats to eat, and it digests very well, okay? When you're eating a meat, you want a meat that's going to digest in the digestive system fairly quickly, and you want one that is not high in a lot of saturated fats, okay? What makes chicken high in saturated fats is the certain parts of the chicken. I eat the white meat. The white meat does not have as much fat on it. And when also the other thing is, when I eat the white meat, I take the skin off. Now you might sit here and say, well, dang, Kendra, that's all the good parts of the chicken. Dang, I can't have the skin. No, you can't. You can't have the skin. You have to take the skin off, okay? You may need to get into finding some sauces or dips or whatever to make it taste fulfilling or pleasing to you. That's not so high in carbs. But you want to take the skin off the chicken. Take the skin off. If you're going to consume something like lamb, try to get the lean portions of the lamb. And if there is fat on there, cut the fat off from around the lamb before you consume it. If you are a beef eater and you just have to have beef, I'm not a beef eater, but if you are just one of those people who just got to have beef, get the lean portions They sell it in the grocery store. It's going to run you a little bit more money. It's going to cost a little bit more because it is leaner, okay? But you want the grass-fed cow, the one that says grass-fed, and you want the leaner portions of it. If you're eating a steak that is grass-fed from a grass-fed cow, because that's the one you want. You don't want the ones from the cows that, and it's sad that they're charging more for beef that's grass-fed, because that's what you're supposed to be feeding the cows anyway. I don't know why they're charging more for that, because it's cheaper to feed them corn, but they're not supposed to be eating corn anyway. But anywho, the steak, on the steak, if you see the fat portions around the steak, you want to cut the fat from around the steak. All right, you want that steak as lean as you can get it, okay? You eat that portion of the steak, but I still wouldn't consume steak no more than maybe once a month. If you just gotta have a steak, I would say no more than once a month. If you're eating steak once a week or twice a week or 3 times a week, way too much. That's way too much. Because first of all, you got to realize steak takes it takes too long to digest in the GI system. You're looking at 7 days, 5 to 7 days, sometimes 8 days for a steak to digest in your GI system, okay? So you don't want to consume a lot of meats that take that length of time to digest. And the same thing for pork. Pork doesn't take as long as beef, but it still takes at least 48 hours for it to digest in the GI system, which is way too long. So, and the other thing about pork is it not only is high in fat, it's high in salt. I could go on and on about pork. Pork is just not good for us at all. It's not good for our system. It's not good for our vascular system. It's not meant for us. It's just not meant for us. But because it tastes so good and we like it, people like to eat it. But I just don't recommend it. So I say get rid of the pork as well. As a provider, I would never tell my patient to take meat out of their diet. I just wouldn't, because I'm going to have some other issues then. I got to deal with anemia and all kind of other issues from them. They're going to come back in there saying they're tired and sluggish, and I don't want to, No, I would rather go the route of teaching you how to prepare your meats and what meats to eat, as opposed to telling you to take meat out your diet. But I can see how it's much easier in a society to just tell people to stop eating meat. It's a lot easier to do that. But you got to remember, it goes against everything we've been taught in medicine to tell someone to stop eating meat, because we've been taught that that's how our cells reproduce. That's how we get good, healthy cells, is from the B12, from the consumption of meat. And your highest levels of B12 you're going to get is from consuming some form of meat, whether it's fish, whether it's chicken. That's where you're going to get it. So why would I tell you to stop eating it? That doesn't make any sense. Because I understand how the human body works, and I understand that you need it. It's just the meats that you eat and how you are consuming it. So let's move to the HDLs, because we know it's much harder to increase the HDLs. The reason why the Mediterranean diet is so popular and such a good diet and so highly recommended in the medical community, because I have adopted that diet as well, the Mediterranean diet. I love that diet because you get a balance of everything, okay? One of the things that they found out, and the reason why you see a lot of Mediterranean people drinking red wine, is because the red wine increases the HDLs. Remember, your HDLs are your good cholesterol. It's the good cholesterol. It's the one we want up. It's the one that we want to get up, okay? It helps clean up the arteries, all right? It helps clean all that cholesterol out of the arteries. So having high HDLs is a good thing. And this consumption of red wine does help increase it. Another thing that will help get the HDLs up is the consumption of certain types of fish. So salmon is one. Sardines is another one. The albacore tuna is another one that you can use to help get the HDLs up. Whole grain is another one. Legumes. Okay, so those things you can do to help get the HDLs up. And exercising, okay? So when you exercise, it helps control the amount of cholesterol that that's being made by the liver, okay? By, increasing your lifestyle, exercising, not being sedentary, that's going to help you make good cholesterol. Another thing that you can do that will help increase your HDLs is to start using olive oil. Stop cooking in Lord, please, if anybody's still using lard, please. I know they still make that stuff, but that is just straight. It just clogs your arteries so bad. That stuff is just garbage. It is like, when I tell you, I don't know how to explain lard. Crisco. You remember Crisco that came in the can? Lard. I don't even know how to explain the damage that lard does to the arteries. That stuff is like, I don't know, y'all. I guess if you poured oil in your gas tank instead of putting gasoline in it, what you think would happen if you put oil in your gas tank instead of putting gasoline? That's what lard does to the arteries. It is the worst thing that you could put in your body. And I know for years when I was growing up, that's what they used. They didn't know any better. But, I always say when you learn better, you should do better. You should always do better. Once you know better, do better. And to anyone watching my videos are meant to educate you. They're not meant to shame you. They're not meant to point the finger at you. It's meant to educate you. So now that you know lard is not good for you, don't use that stuff. I know it's cheap. It's dirt cheap. And it's a reason why it's dirt cheap, because it clogs your arteries. And so does canola oil. Canola oil is not good for you. And I would tell you I'm going to tell you how you know if you've consumed canola oil in any type of dressing. If it's in a dressing or anything, waste it on your shirt. If it doesn't come out, it's canola oil. They start using canola oil in these dressings, and canola oil is not good for you. It is not a natural oil. It is a man-made oil made in Canada. It's not good for your body. It's not good for your arteries. It's not good. They put a heart sign on it, stick it, and tell you it's the best thing since sliced bread, and it is not. It is trash, okay? You should be consuming olive oil. Sauté your vegetables in. Use olive oil to saute your meats. You can saute anything like broccoli, cauliflower. Any of the vegetables can be sauteed in olive oil. You can also saute, of course, your onions, and you can saute your chop up slices of the white meat from the chicken. Saute that. You can saute that in olive oil. Olive oil has been known to increase HDLs. It will increase your HDLs, thereby cleaning up your arteries. You have nice, healthy arteries. This is the oil that is taught to us, but that's the one you want to use. You can use extra virgin olive oils to make your own vinaigrettes. You can mix it with balsamic vinegar. Mix those two together in a container. You got your dressing right there. Very healthy for you. If you want to use that to try and lose weight on your dressings, that way you know exactly what's in your dressing. You can cook your salmon in it. Normally what I do is I put maybe about a tablespoon of it in a oven pan. If you get your oven pan from the store, the pan set you can stick in the oven. Put your salmon in there. Season your salmon on the stove, and then stick it in the oven and cook it that way in the olive oil. That is the healthiest way to cook your fish. Don't use vegetable oil. Yes, olive oil is going to be expensive, but if you buy it in the big container, it'll last you a while because you don't use as much. So you saute your foods in there. I'm going to do some videos on that now. I'm going to do some videos, some healthy videos on how to cook your food, how to cook your meat. And I'll teach you guys how to do that in some future videos, okay? So I'll do that. But you want to consume foods like that to help increase the HDLs, because that's the biggest thing, guys. You want to increase the HDLs, eat plant-based foods, then lower the LDLs. And by lowering the LDLs, that will help eliminate the amount of cholesterol that the liver is going to make. Guys, I hope this video was helpful to someone. I hope I gave you guys some good healthy ideas that you can use to kind of make some lifestyle changes, because it's one thing for your doctor to say you need to make some lifestyle changes or you're gaining weight, but they don't really take the time to go into your diet to see what it is that you're eating. And a lot of times I do this with a lot of my patients. I'll ask them, what are you eating? What are the foods you're consuming? Because a lot of times people just don't know. They think they're eating healthy and they're really not eating healthy. So just keep those things in mind. So I hope I gave you guys some good ideas that you can implement into your daily routine, into your lifestyle, to really start making some lifestyle changes so you guys can see your numbers improve and see your cholesterol get better. Okay? So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Please do share my videos and subscribe to the channel. If you guys have any other questions, I'll be glad to answer them. Please leave them in the comment section. And also, guys, if you have any ideas, some things that you want me to do a video on, maybe if you're having problems with obesity or diabetes or anything like that, hypertension, whatever. I don't care what it is. Whatever. Leave it in the comment section, y'all, and I'll be glad to do a video on it if it's something you really want to learn more about and you want to get educated on that information, okay? Until the next video, I will talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys.